For maybe the last moment, I'll just be memorizing the background.
They're
Oh,
starting.
they're starting! Let's go!
And the overlay is correct. Beautiful.
Players getting a handle of their matchups. We're getting a handle of the overlay. Good all around.
You know what else is getting a handle of those perfect clears? Very nice. Very nice. My god.
Yo, is going back-to-back over everything. This is very risky. You're gonna find that 12 surge. Which might actually be pretty counterintuitive, because once you get to 12 surge, you're setting entirely clean in those chunks.
Went on some funky cheese to get through.
They are gonna find that C-spin though, and despite just being in a risky situation, they're putting out enough APM to where they're not dying. Their cancel is enough. And as I say that, they're sent to their top row. And Poisondrought takes the first round.
PC0 is going for LST.
That's the NKO from Poisondrought, who's gonna break their surge early to cheese up PC0. Might have already figured out PC0's love for those greedy high board plays, which means that cheese is just gonna be that much more potent, and Poisondrought's gonna take the second round. Mirrored TKIs!
The weird TP soft drop where it got stuck, so they had to waste it. But they still took the round.
Yeah, Poisondrought's misdrop was just too many to recover from. PC0 is now on the board. We're gonna see mirrored TKIs again, but this time no misdrops, no miss finesses. PC0 is gonna think a little bit faster, but Poisondrought knows where their well is, so they might have a better release. And as I say that, they did end up misdropping an eyepiece, so PC0 did take that and run away with it, tying it up at 2-2. PC0 was thinking about tanking that and recognizes that it's a little bit too risky even for their taste. But as I say that, they're gonna sustain their LST, finding a nice opportunity to break. And that sustain alone, not even spike, is going to be enough to top out Poisondrought. Sustain is definitely known to be less effective than spikes when it comes to topping out, but maybe this level of sustain is something that Poisondrought isn't used to. PC0 gonna try and build the STSD, and Poisondrought recognized that opportunity, sent that spike. Gonna put PC0 on cycle duty, but they got every piece when they needed to. And PC0's out of there. Now Poisondrought, on the same situation, had the T-spin set up but didn't have it fully filled. No cancel, and PC0 is gonna expand that lead.
Have we seen a perfect clear opener from PC0 yet?
I don't believe so. I think the theory of their name just being a distraction might be true.
PC0 instead favors LST and the TKI opening for it.
That is kind of insane how, like, their username's like the opposite playstyle.
Yeah.
PC0 implies opener bursting, but instead, this entire set they've been playing for sustain. And that miss spin from Poisondrought's gonna make things pretty rough, but they found their way out. They're gonna find the force surge, so they're not too far behind. PC0 with a very risky tank, but they were kind of out of options. It's gonna work out. Another very risky T-spin. They're out of space, but they're not out of options. A quote for them to live by.
The way to the bottom.
All the way their material. And that 20 spike's gonna be enough.
Taking a lead by 3 now.
This level sustain is definitely something that Poisondrougt's gonna have to get used to pretty quickly. Finding that RNG PC, but not able to do too much after it. Just gonna return to a neutral board state. Does have to worry about the 10 surge that PC0 is holding on to. PC0 is trying to do some thinking on how to proceed. Poisondrought went for the tank, got a very nice well there. Gonna be able to access it pretty quickly. PC0 now in a similar situation, but does not have the Q to compensate. And Poisondrought's clawing their way back. Oh my gosh! No shot! PC0 did PC0. Not gonna go for PC. Probably just recognized that they weren't able to. But we did actually see them do the thing.
The 3 T-spins on top of each other is very interesting. Go
yeah,
off,
PC0 is playing for APM over everything. And it is respectable to see this kind of playstyle in the tournament setting. Because we've seen a common theme of players trying to take no risk in tournament, especially this one, but PCOs have none of that. Which I guess does match their name, because PCO, especially in this season, is pretty risky to go for.
For sure.
PCO is going to enter that surge area. Poisondrought trying to make it down to their garbage. Does have a surge to worry about, but PCO's board state doesn't look that good for continued sustain. Which is going to let Poisondrought out of here with a lot of clean. But PCO's just going to start that surge up again, and if Poisondrought can't access, then it's looking rough. Not a problem for somebody with downstack fundies as potent as Poisondrought's, but they weren't ready for that surge break. The surge, being able to send the damage without actually having material, is always going to be a wild card on the receiving end. That's something that PCO knows and utilizes very well. PCO is going to send 24 over, but that's all clean for Poisondrought, who's going to count to 4 and recover their well. And PCO just doing a lot of overstack and cascade kind of looping. Which seems to be them just flipping the switch to go from sustain to spiking. And it seems like the spiking is something that Poisondrought is more used to by the looks of situations right now. And PCO doing the same thing. Try to get enough times, and sometimes your opponent just won't be ready for it. PCO expands their lead to 5.
Ooh. Misdropping Poisondrougt's PCO. Not what you want to see. But if you are PCO the individual, you would love to see misdrops on your opponent's board.
Yes, they will. Poisondrougt's going to take the surge lead here. Have the opportunity for the TST tower. Gonna reject it in favor of safety. You definitely saw him think about it though, that slight hesitation. And PCO's just gonna make it all the way down. No threats yet. Just a smooth stroll to the bottom of their board. But they don't have a wall for that STSD. And that's gonna give Poisondrought some time to build their sustain. But PCO, once again, is out of there. Definitely flipping that switch on a good time to go from offense to downstack. And what a float from Poisondrought. Stylish way of keeping efficiency. The 180 TSS!
How does that even work, dude? What is that?
Truly something. But it's not going to be enough. PCO's just trekking through, but we're just in a situation of similar active material. And that eyepiece misdrop's gonna put a wrench, but they did have the Q to compensate immediately. And Poisondrought sets up another 180 TSS.
Like, dude,
Not often you see
relax. You don't need to be doing all that.
And Poisondrought has set up, I think, 3 of them this round?
Going for all the style points.
Gonna try and equate those style points to real points, taking more risks as they are on the back foot in terms of score. PCO is in 6-3. Gonna go ahead and swap their well in favor of immediate efficiency and keep that surge going. Cascades all the way down, 28 spike. Poisondrought was able to spawn their T-piece.
Poisondrought is very cheesed up though.
Not able to find their 4 surge, which might give PCO an opportunity to overwhelm. Poisondrought has a pretty late eye, but they still make it, resolving most of their dependencies. But that J dependency is looking rough too, and PCO capitalizes, expanding their lead to 6. SDPC spin from PCO. Both players had similar surges. Poisondrought breaks first. PCO tanks and breaks second, making sure that their surge is offensive, limiting Poisondrought's sustained possibilities. But after those misdrops, it's not looking nice. Gonna be forced on cycle. Gonna resolve a lot of their dependencies, but those hesitations there is all that Poisondrought needs to secure a kill. I spin in order to complete the opener setup from PCO there. They're definitely well versed in their opener game to see that one. Up to 7 surge, donates makes it up to 9. Poisondrought, after that misdrop, it's gonna be rough to find some sustain. They do turn into a donation. They have the S piece immediately, but that J piece misdrop, they have well access. Kicks the J over. And to compensate, they end up destroying their board, but they're already out of here before I can even finish that thought.
Oh my god.
I wasn't ready. Score is 9-5. Like clockwork for these players. And PCO is going to find that 6-3. Poisondrought's been doing a decent job at dealing with at least the 6-3 part of PCO's gameplay. It's going to be the surge sustain that's going to throw a wrench, if anything.
Ooh.
And as predicted, PCO takes their 10th point due to said surge sustain. Now doubling Poisondrought's lead. Poisondrought's going to have to figure it out. While their window grows shorter.
Ooh, all the way down.
Yeah, PCO had a nice sequence of well access there. And Poisondrought found their opportunity to take a 6th point. Poisondrought's decisions to send some more cheese is looking nice, unlike their board state after those misdrops. And with PCO sustain, it's going to be pretty tough to get out of here. But they didn't hesitate in their down stack, and they were rewarded with it. Very interesting all-spin down stack there for Poisondrought. And they're going to be fully eye-dependent. Going to find a nice multiply out of here. Gonna be forced to do a 180 for that L-spin. Both players playing at even speed. And because Poisondrought is actively trying to slow down the pacing of the game, we're actually going to see APM drops from these players at this point. And it could be proving beneficial as Poisondrought is definitely finding more advantages in the slower gameplay. PCO once again pushed up too high, and no cycles available.
Poisondrought slowly but surely closing this gap up.
Let's see, MKO versus SDPC spin. Gonna be pretty even on the surge, but Poisondrought's gonna be stuck in 8-1, so I wouldn't be surprised if that surge disappears now. PCO in a similar situation. Just no safe way to continue their surge, and Poisondrought gonna send entirely cheese to PCO.
My god.
And yeah, Poisondrought sees an opportunity immediately from slowing down the pace to that spike burst. They seem to have found their stride, found their momentum, taking 3 rounds in a row, and planning to continue that streak.
Whoa.
Very nice sequences from Poisondrought, but that misdrop is gonna let PCO escape. Poisondrought's dependent, but they're out of there.
Ooh, that's rough.
Piece in time.
Had to waste one of the T pieces to make their overhang for that fractal, and it costed them.
Wasting T's gonna bite you. PCO had the count to 4, ends up misplacing their T. And Poisondrought looking pretty dependent, not gonna find their I in time. And PCO has stolen the momentum. And Poisondrought is in the same situation, despite doing so much to claw their lead back. They're gonna have to do it again, and even further beyond. They are gonna get that early surge break though. PCO had just the Q they needed to survive that. I think any other piece between that and they were out of here. Gotta see what they do with this second life of theirs. Poisondrought sends 18 over, but PCO is at the lowest in the board. And those misdrops from Poisondrought is gonna give PCO their window to take a 13th round, bringing it dangerously close to victory.
Gap is widening yet again, and PCO is now 2 points away from claiming this victory here.
Those misdrops are gonna hurt their pacing, and that's what Poisondrought's been looking for. Looking to hinder PCO's pacing at any cost. Because when the opponent pacing drops, that's when Poisondrought really starts to shine. Of course it goes for more players, but Poisondrought more than anybody seems to know how to really cause that to happen. And Poisondrought is more dependent. They want to be gonna be forced to be more hesitant on their placements. PCO's not gonna find their window though, and Poisondrought's gonna make it out. PCO does have a surge in the back pocket, and this has always thrown a wrench in Poisondrought's plans thus far. Hopefully for them, they're gonna find that adjustment. 28 spike from PCO. Poisondrought finds well access just in time, but the follow-up from PCO is gonna be enough to top out Poisondrought and give them match point.
Will Poisondrought be able to come back from this one? We'll see.
Perfect play for 7 rounds is what is required of Poisondrought in order to take this set.
That
It's
play
a tall pass, but
not
it's
looking
not
too
possible.
perfect with those misdrops. Not what you want to be doing right now when your opponent's on match point like that. But they did get sent very high up, and they were able to take the point.
Not what you want to be doing, but when your opponent is misdropping of equal potency, then it'll be just fine. And if you get out first, then you'll see a simulation unfold just like that. And Poisondrought has such nice well RNG, and PCO can't access theirs. Poisondrought.
Now taking point number 10! Closing the gap even more.
Poisondroughts find their stride.
Stride 2025.
So true. Now Poisondrought is starting to find their ways around.
Oh no!
The important is that they don't get too overconfident. That eyepiece misdrop's not looking good, but with that target mode skim, they have another opportunity. Not going to greed for the T-spin setup, and that is going to reward them with their life. But that following T-piece misdrop is gonna cost them the set. And PCO takes it 15 to 10.